right, everybody, welcome to Topic Thursday. Today's topic is problem solving. And I am not going to give the answers. As a community, I'd like you guys to give the answers, but what I am going to do is I will be putting your solutions down, my solutions down, and we will be putting this back up when Kat loads the training. Does that make sense? All right.
Yep.
So, and I'm calling this one Sellers Getting Greedy. What can that be? So, everything that we are talking about are problems that agents have been having. And they call up and they don't they want to know how to rectify it and how to fix it. So we had a home on the site that the seller wanted 750 when they first listed it. I think he listed at 699. Ended up hitting the 750 on the first go around and said, "Nah, I want 780." So he extended the offer event. Then all of a sudden he's above 180. Seller says, "Well, I think we can do better. I want 800." We extend it. He gets up to 800. And then seller did the same thing. He said, "Nah, I want 840 for it." And what do you guys, as collective, we'll just go one at a time in order. What would be your solution to that? And then I'll tell you my solution at the hour, what I've come up with. But these are things that you're going to encounter, especially in this buyer's market. The cool thing is that we had another home on the site at the end of the last week that had I think it had like 50 offers.
Wow.
So when sellers start seeing that, then all of a sudden they start getting greedy and want more and more and more. So let's see here. Bonnie Yard, what would your solution be?
Well, the first thing I would tell him, I'd say, I understand you want to get as much for your house as you can, but you have to stop and think, is it going to appraise for that amount of money? Because if it's not, then you're wasting your time and my time. So you need to take the offer that we know it's going to appraise for.
Okay, that's good. Quinn?
Yeah, I would have started with that as well. I would dig a little deeper to understand the motivation. If he was good with 740 and it's gone up way past that, what is driving this? Is it just pure greed, or is there something beneath it? And then again, to bring him back to kind of where we're at in the market, and we've got probably a couple of different, and maybe 3 different buyers that are excited about this house. If you keep pushing them, they're going to go away.
That's great advice, Brad.
Yeah, I would try to start it at the beginning and just, really analyze and say, hey, what's your max on this property that you're looking for? And then if we hit that max, hey, great, we hit the max. We've already talked about it. Why do you think these sellers are actually doing this? It's because the location is just so primo that, hey, we have 3 people looking at this and we want to exploit them, and really use some like triggering language to make them feel like, oh, I am being a little bit greedy, and try to come up with a number to say, hey, let's cap it off, right? You're, as much as you're trying to do them a favor, you're also not doing them any favors if it appraises too high, or if it doesn't appraise to the value and they lose the deal anyways.
What I like about what everybody is saying, that we're not doing this after the fact. The precedent has to be set before you even take the listing, right? And I think Brad's the closest so far in what my input that I'm going to give. And out of the gate, we set it up. So very good, Brad. Thank you. All right. Let's go to Katie. What do you think, Katie?
I'm new
Yeah.
here, so
on the subject of the appraisal and the first conversation, talking about the components of a good offer. It's not just price, it's terms. So if there's an appraisal contingency without what we do in California is we have a gap if the loan will only fund up to a certain value that we'd want to check for. So making sure they understand the components of a good offer. And then also, I didn't think about this before, but in the way that this platform is advantageous to the seller because of buyer psychology, competitiveness, and gambling psychology, I would want to make them aware that they could also be I guess vulnerable to that type of behavior in this scenario. Like when you have
Great,
a
thank
stock that's
No, that's good.
flying.
That's well said.
Yeah.
All right. Brett?
Well, I would, before I even started, have him sign a minimum that he would accept. I mean, that's what a listing is. I mean, you may not hold him to that, but then he sees it in writing. I agreed that I sell it for 780. I mean, that's what I would do from the very beginning.
Did we talk about it?
What was that?
You and I haven't talked about this, right?
No, I mean, personally, I mean, I'd even make him,
That
if we get that point, then you owe me money or whatever. I mean, I've done that in the past. I'm simple with my fees, but there's an agreement to begin with, and I'm going to put money into selling this. I got to know what your minimum high point is.
so Brett and I are on the same exact planet now, and I've never had to do this with any of my sellers. And by
No.
the way, just so everybody knows, we have never ever had a home not appraised yet. Is it going to happen? Probably. But the beauty of the program is when you have, 100 people in the open house, you have 10 people making offers, it comes down to 2 or 3 people that absolutely have to, like Quinn's lady. I am not going to lose this house over $10,000 and I don't know how high she went above it and she went way over her budget, her market budget. Even if there was an appraisal gap in it, there is no way she was going to let that home go. And that's some of the psychology behind of what the site does. And we got to remember those things. But we are creating a form right now that we're going to attach to the addendum and we're going to add in that minimum price that they'll accept. Because we've had this happen twice now in the last 60 days. And that's not fair to you agents. And it's not fair to the platform. It's not fair to anybody because they get greedy. So, Kenneth, what do you have to say about that?
I have to agree with everybody else. I definitely make sure that my seller had a price point was the minimum, and I let him understand that as the people on the platform start putting in offers, they're going to drive. They're the drivers, and the seller, you, Mr. Seller, are the ones that will cut it off in terms and price. So to keep hopscotching back on and back on and back on, you probably had an excellent buyer somewhere in some of those offers and that price point. Now you're pushing it to a max where if we go over the appraised value, we got to start all over again. And you actually lost good buyers, potentially excellent buyers. So I would definitely get that information up front and try to walk them through it.
Very good. Michael Grand, what's your solution to that?
I mean, how do you hold somebody accountable to something that they said that they were willing to do, right? You have to get that in writing when they sign it, right? I mean, they're accountable to what they agreed upon, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where we're in the middle of adding that. I'm going to add that to the addendum.
Yeah, so
All
I
the
mean,
addendums.
bring them back to that. I would just say, hey, my job is to get you the absolute most possible, but we agreed that if we would get at least this, we would move forward. Is that still the
Exactly.
case? What's changed? Okay, how come that's changed? Well, we put a lot of energy, effort, time, and money into an agreement that we have. So we kind of need to accept the highest offer. I get that, but we can't just cut bait and stop working together because we've changed, what you want to do halfway through our agreement, right? That we've signed.
Very good. Thank you. Vince Yurick.
Yep, sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah, when you're going over that, sorry, I joined a little late too. I just kind of caught the tail end. When they get the initial number that they give you, is that the number you're talking about when they sign their listing agreement?
Yeah, so we had a seller agree with the agent if he got it up to 740 that he would take it. Then he started getting offers and went above that. Then he said, well, I wanted more. And went above that, I want more. And after the fourth time, it didn't hit the fourth mark. And so the agent's quite frustrated about it. So my question is, seller says they want a certain price. Then after seeing multiple offers, they get greedy and want more. What would your solution be to that problem?
So are they finishing up the bidding and then saying, let's extend it? Or
Correct.
are they, okay. So at the end of it, essentially you just have to sit them down and go through their pros and cons. I think just like one of the last people who was commenting on it beforehand, because I didn't see who was commenting, and they said that that you have to kind of hold them accountable, and if you keep extending, you lose out on the buyers who are really interested, because now you have 4 or 5 people who are bidding on it, and you go and extend it, they think theirs isn't good enough, they're not going to come back. So now the next time you start it off and you're starting below that 740 number, you're going to have a whole new set of bidders, and they're not even going to get it up to that 740 or that number that you reached before. So it's just like if you go to a traditional listing and you overprice something. If you priced it right the first time, you'd probably get more money in the end. But if you overprice it, it sits longer and you end up getting less. So something you just have to talk with the seller about and go through their pros and cons and give them what they can expect. And just let them know, maybe get it in writing and say, if we extend it one more time, we need to know where we're going to accept, because we know this one's going to be lower.
A great answer all the way around. So is there anybody that would disagree that we should not put that on the addendum that the seller signs? Okay,
Question
I'll take
on,
that.
well,
Yeah.
I was doing one question, I'm putting a value on there that's also going to be telling the buyers the value that it needs to get to, correct?
Yep.
Rather than just the listing value.
That's kind of like a buy now button,
Okay,
which by the way, we're adding to the site. It should be up and going, which I think might be sooner than later on that. So the other thing that that I encourage people to do, let's pretend now that they made offers, but it didn't get to that minimum price the seller wanted, right? So, but we did have people making offers on the platform. You got to call those agents or the buyers, whoever you've got contact with, and say, hey, the seller needs this one. You'll know who loves the home, the couple people that love the home. Call them up and get them to bump up. It should never be more than a $10,000, $20,000 a price threshold. And if the people love the home that much, they'll bump the price up. But you got to negotiate in this market with your people that have already looked at the house. Okay. So on top of, does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. All right. Next one is no offers came in and only 5 buyers showed up at an open house. Bonnie Yard, what's your solution?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Well, my solution for the house that I'd had and only 7 buyers showed up, and is because it was in terrible shape. It shouldn't have been put on the market to begin with. not in the condition it was in, and not at the price that he had it on the market for. He would, the investor didn't listen to me, so I should have told him, no, we can't put it on the market, not in the condition it's in.
Very good. Katie?
Well, yeah, I guess context does matter. If it is a fixer property, I would
How about just a traditional listing?
traditional listing, I would open up my MLS, do reverse prospecting tool, shows which agent represented clients have that in their collaboration center as a match. I would do an email campaign. I'd call up those agents, see what the reason for not checking out the property or feedback was if they showed it. I would promote, if it's only been one open house, it could speak to the timing of the market. So I'd probably do another open house. And then I do a lot of promotion around the open house. If it might be a pricing problem, again, like context, but let's say it was priced really attractively for the comps in the area and for the platform itself. There are other platforms I would blast this out on, like Top Agent Network. I'd look for the most active buyer agents in that area. I'd call them up. And then I'd come back to the seller after another week if the open house was dead again. And we could talk about aspects of the house or other factors that might be affecting its attractiveness to buyers.
Very good. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Quinn?
I mean, Katie nailed it. Like everything she was talking about. I'm like, that's exactly the route I would go. I in that situation, I guess the one thing I would add is I ramp up some of my social media marketing, and I've seen that effective to bring in some. Just recently on a house where I've seen it super effective to get interest later in the listing when we're on the market nearly a month. So
Very cool. Thank you. Michael Graham.
Sorry, I checked out for a minute. Do
All
you
right,
have,
Brett,
what was the
that's
question?
all right. I'll give Brett Parcell. We already got the answer, so watch the video, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much what everybody's been saying depends on marketing times. I mean, is 30 days a long time? Depends on the market. I remember back in the 90s, I would tell people, hey, it's only been 5 months. You should give it a little bit more time. So, and then it depends on how active your seller is. Maybe take them out to show some competition, show how those houses show. Then they can come back and address some of the things they need to do to fix their property up. And then in the end, do another CMA. In my long time doing this, it's almost always price. So, but is 60 days a long time? Depends on your market.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. First thing is we got to make sure the home's priced right. And then now that we're still, even though we're some areas are moving back into a neutral market, I don't know anybody has slid into a seller's market yet. So knowing that we're in this neutral / buyer's market, we still need to do the trend reports. We did at the listing presentation. We need to set up the expectations in the listing presentation, right? And then you go ahead and you think you did this great price and it should sell, it should get some people, and it still doesn't sell, then we got to come back and do the same thing, just like you would do on a normal transaction with the seller, but bring out the trend reports again, bring out a new trend report, go through the your neighborhood. Don't all the trainings that we've done, remember, a great source to show your buy, because I guarantee you, I don't know any sellers that don't know what their Zestimate is on their home.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and show them homes that are for sale around their neighborhood. Remember we did that?
Mm-hmm.
How many views and how many saves do they have versus everybody else that has a listing in there? There's a time and point to stay, and we did a training on this. It's in the, I don't remember, I think it was a Thursday training, a topic Thursday, but there's a time and point where you've got to get the sellers to hang. Maybe you need to just hang in there. It's just, buyers don't have to make an instant decision anymore in markets. They can sit and wait for a little bit of term. We don't, in a buyer's market, we don't promise we list it on Thursday and go in contract on Tuesday, right? If the average home, the average days on market's 120, we're going to say by utilizing the easy method, we should sell it in half that time. But you got to be watching your MLS. You got to be looking at Zillow. When I have my listings, I look at them once a week. And I want to see, and I keep track of my saves. And if I'm doing that, I know what to say to the seller. And like I say, I'll take the seller and I'll put them on there. I'll show them the MLS, and I'll also go into Zillow and show them that. But we've had a lot of homes listed in market areas where there have been hundreds of listing inside of an eighth of a mile. Not one, hundreds. And when we know we're in that situation, right, the best thing to do is reverse prospect and utilize the buyer's premium to set yourself apart from anybody else. We're not in a time where we can just sit back and get a listing and not do anything about it. Right? All right. So does that make sense to everybody? All right. So this one's this kind of ties into last week's thing. So we are getting a lot of investors, and plus our lead intake is getting better. It takes a while when you do the intake form and then you start to work with the people. You guys got to remember the process is we have a team of people taking the intake form. That form goes into Adam and his team. What we're doing is we are running a title report, we are running a tax statement, and we're getting a CMA simultaneously from an agent in that area. Okay, and then Adam is doing a workup sheet with the 4 different ways that we can offer the seller. And then we go ahead and negotiate that out with our company. And when you start using our investors, they will be negotiating that out. And then they turn around and give the lead back to that agent that did CMA. And when they do that, remember, we list home at the contract price, right? Now, the fourth option that provoked Monday's training is that if we have no means, we've exhausted the fix and flip, and we'll talk about this lady in Los Angeles area. Homes, $1.6 million. The lady has put a small fortune. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's in a very, very, very desirable area. And great neighborhood, gated neighborhood, yada, yada, yada. Well, don't ever forget the company's motto is we need to do what's best for the seller. We had turned that lead over to an agent in Los Angeles. She went out and met with her last Saturday. And the next thing you know, Sunday night at 3 a.m, I'm getting ding, 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 ding. She's sending me, 25 pictures of the home and asking me, are we going to make a cash offer or novation on this? When we'd given her the worksheet saying it's just go out and get the listing. The unique selling point for this lady was, I don't want to pay an agent a commission. So our agent didn't understand that, even though we gave her the sheet and explained that to her. So this next question kind of has to do with that. Problem number 4, investor pricing versus the easy traditional pricing. There's a difference, right? So let's start. Kenneth Collins, what's the difference between the investor pricing and working out a price for traditional on your own?
I'm sorry, I'm on a call with a client.
All right, go ahead. I'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Vincent, You must be on
Sorry,
a
I was
call
doing the
too.
same. I was I got a call from my Canadian
I can
investor.
go. I can go if you want, Robert.
Yeah, let's all go and let Michael Graham go. Go ahead,
Now
Michael.
I'm back. So what's the difference between investor pricing and traditional pricing was your question, right?
Yeah, using the easy method on both sides.
Um, yeah, I need a little help with that. I hadn't done the investor side.
You gotta come back in, and I am telling you, Michael, this is where you want to be with our investor stuff that's going on.
Okay.
And we're gonna get into
I
deeper
mean,
on that.
from what I remember from before, you guys were baking in kind of like some really cool fees to be able to pay the investor back some of their money, like a premium. So
Yeah.
it was like 10%, and then 3% would go back to the investor, 1% for the easy platform, and then 6% for the realtors split. But that
How does that
3%,
get broken down?
what's that?
How does that 6% get broken down?
For the realtors?
Yep.
So 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer's agent,
No,
1%.
3.5, 2.5.
Oh, sorry, 3.5,
Because
2.
remember, if we're giving you the lead or we're getting a referral fee out of that. So that'll
Ah,
bring you
okay. This is the
like a
investors you guys are
3%.
sending to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that is right on the investor pricing. So how about, if I send you a form over and say, I just want you to go do uh, the traditional easy listing. What are you doing with that seller when you show up?
On an easy traditional listing?
So we have, let me go to somebody who was on it. Who was on the training on Monday? Brett, let's go to you.
Investor would be whatever the investor signs the contract at, that's the minimum. And then you're talking about the easy platform, going out and explaining how the platform works and all the benefits, why they should use that platform.
Exactly. And what buyer's premium are you using on that?
On the platform, regular,
If I give you a traditional lead,
7, 6 or
okay,
7.
and tell me how that gets split out.
One to the platform, 3.5, 2.5,
Very good. So,
or whatever's negotiable.
so does everybody understand that? There's going to be times, because where our investors fall short is if they don't get a novation, they don't get a cash offer, the lead goes into a garbage can. They don't understand the investor 10% premium, that they can make 3% on it. But what's the difference between the 10% and doing it traditional? Is that we have to have enough what's the rule of buyer's premium? Cannot exceed the value of the home, right? So if there's margin in there and we agree on a price, then we go ahead and do the 10% rule. But we give that to you. Now, if we give you a lead like we did with the lady in Los Angeles, we gave her the evaluation and she agreed because she's the one who did the CMA. It was worth between 1.6 and 1.8 in the area. And then we give you that lead saying, go do it with the traditional easy method. She didn't understand what that meant. But so does everybody understand that that's still a lead that's coming from marketing dollars that these investors are going to be spending and giving you? And you've got to be
Yes,
able to explain the
you would
benefits.
just you would just go and list it just like a like you're going to a listing presentation for a normal seller, correct?
Exactly.
And the house didn't need any work, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And what we tell before we send you out, what we tell the sellers, we have in our company, we have 7 agents across the nation that'll list your home and not charge you a commission. That's as far as we take it. That becomes just a regular lead, but the seller doesn't want to pay a commission. Either there's not enough margin to do it either the first 3 ways, or in this case here in Calabasas, we didn't need to do that. We weren't putting any money into the home. And that lady, that was her home. She deserves every penny of it. Then we got to go and play the game. We want to price it 10 to 15% below market value. We're going to do one open house. And I got to believe in Calabasas that it would sell pretty quick. It's a pretty exclusive area. Does anybody else know Calabasas? I know Kenneth would if he wasn't tied up. But anyway, so it's a wonderful neighborhood. Are
Yeah,
there
I'm
any?
free. I'm free. Yeah, absolutely. I on Monday I called it the Kardashian land. It's a pretty exclusive part of mostly a lot of Hollywood and recording artists live out there because it's the furthest western bit of LA County, and it's a really exclusive area. They really call it the Beverly Hills of the San Fernando Valley.
So, and she had already done the work. She, and she's not an investor. She's just a lady that likes to grab a home, fix it, and fix it up, and all that stuff. So, if we keep always in mind what is the best method for the seller to make the most amount of money, that was in that case the best option. So when we give that to you, you go back to all these lessons that we have taught about in the last, year with you guys, pricing the home, telling the story. Quinn's got his own story. The other cool thing would be to get, people, Brett's got his own story. I've got my own story. Michael Graham has his own story, but incorporating that but with documentation and proof that we don't leave any questions unanswered, that we haven't said anything that we can't verify and show with real documentation. And again, if we go back to my listing presentation, that remember, I have a lot better results and a lot other offer events, but I could never get approval between both brokerages, the buyers and the sellers to use those documents. And in this case, out of however many we've done, it's the only one that will allow me to use them for training and listing presentation purposes. That's why it's seamless. It's a half hour, 45-minute listing presentation, but there are no questions that are unanswered. And not only that, we're engaging with the seller while we're doing the listing presentation. And again, in my case here with the Allen story, what had happened, we knew a price that we wanted to sell the home at to get 100 people in the open house. And what does he do? He understood the theory behind it, and he wanted to lower it at a price where he'd get 1,000 people into the open house. Right? We don't need 1,000 people walking through an open house. Talking about losing buyers, but everything is feature, science, and benefits for the seller. So all these things that we have brought you in, even though we're working a lot on investors, because the investor stuff is going to carry us through the slow times and the holidays. All of us. But we got to come back to the reality, because a lot of these leads, we're going to ramp up the marketing, ratchet it up really quick here. I think we've learned enough from everybody what we need to do as a company, what we need to give you guys. And so we're going to ratchet it up. And again, a lot of them are going to be just take it back to a traditional scenario. We aren't explaining the platform on that. We are just giving you a hot lead with the unique selling proposition that we've got this. Our company, our sellers don't pay a commission, or as low as a 0% commission, whatever they are saying in that side. And that goes to you guys. So is there any questions about that?
So Robert, yes, you're saying when you give us those, right? You guys have already explained to the seller how the platform works. We're just going there to verify and to get.
No. We haven't explained how the platform works. Right now, when we are doing the workup sheet, we're either doing a cash, novation, or the 10% buyer's premium. We're not explaining to them what we're trying to do is make them the most amount of money. Because once they agree on one of those things, Kenneth, we do a contract and we have a price with them, right? But on the fourth level, like the lady in
Right.
Calabasas, I'm not going to do a novation. I'm not going to offer 70% below market value. And I'm not even going to do the 10% thing because she doesn't need it. We set up that thing. Okay, listen, and we'll say it this way. You can make more money listing it on our platform. And the best news that we have for you is we don't charge the sellers the commission. Then we turn that sheet over to you. You make
Okay.
the appointment with her, and now you're just doing now you got to go out and explain the process.
Got it. Okay.
Just a
got it.
regular listing appointment.
Right.
Because there will be a lot of those and there won't be a lot of those, right? All right. Any questions on that? Pretty clear?
Robert,
Yes.
I think you need to mention the importance of the timeline between taking that contract and having it on with your first open house. Like you explained to me the mistake I made where it was a week and 3 days before I had the open house. Because that makes a difference. That
Okay. So so let's say I was dealing with the lady in Calabasas.
Right.
I go out and do the listing presentation. She says, yeah, that sounds great to me. I want to do it. I want to start it at 135, whatever on there. And I say, okay. So I'm going to do the listing appointment. I'm going to do, when I get writing the listing agreement, I'm going to list it for 6 months. I don't ever list a home for less than 6 months. Why am I doing that? Because I am putting anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 into every listing I get. We got to pay for a sign to be put out there. We got to pay for the sign to be picked up. We're going to do some
Yes.
flyers. We're going to have a lockbox out there. We're going to do an open house out there. So there's money associated with doing the listing. So I don't let people, and there's a lot of people that go in, well, we're going to sell this in 14 days. So I'm going to do a 14-day listing agreement in this crazy market. Get your 6 month, and the best way to explain it to them, I'm going to market it. I don't see it going 6 months. Average days on the market's 180, and I think that we'll have this thing done in 90. Half the days on market, right? And then once I get the listing appointments signed, I'm going to start the MLS on it. Yeah, it takes me 10 days before I even get it on the MLS because I'm doing pictures, walkthroughs, and marketing and blah, 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 blah. So, but when I'm going to start the listing, I start it on a Thursday. I tell my sellers I'm only going to do one open house. And I have the open house on that Saturday, the next Saturday. Why do I do that? Because of the syndication from the MLSs. You're getting your biggest bang without you doing a thing for marketing. You're getting your biggest bang for the buck on those first 3 days with the syndication. That's when it's going on Zillow. And why do we want the open house to be? Because that's getting broadcast as well through all those sites. And simply by doing that, nowadays, a lot of buyers are coming back out to open houses alone without an agent, right? Okay. And then we go ahead and just play the game. Longest I will do is a 10-day offer event. The shortest one I'll do is a 6-day offer event. If nothing happens, I'll extend it. But if I know I'm going to have a hot property, I want the sense of urgency. I want these buyers to give me their pre-quals while it's hot and heavy in their heads and get that thing going. And again, if I don't get anything, what happens? It automatically extends for another 7 days, right? Okay. Does that help, Kenneth?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So one more question, and I've got other ones here, and They're all really basic questions, but there's going to be a lot of distressed properties that need to sell their home. And simply by utilizing some of your marketing, you should start talking to people that do that. So you go out and talk to somebody that might need a short sale that maybe only has 30 days left before the bank forecloses, or blah, blah, whatever that scenario is on a distressed property. Can you choose, if you list that home for them, can you choose a 10% buyer's premium to charge them? Bonnie, can you?
If it's not with an investor,
Yep.
no, normally that would be like a traditional listing. You do 7%, I would think.
Yeah, but you got somebody with a distressed property.
But I have
gonna
to
put
pay
up
the
more money
referral.
than
Yeah,
to do
it is distressed. You could do it. Yes, you could do a 10%.
Okay, but so
Premium.
okay. Katie, can you do a 10% buyer's premium? And why? How can you justify that extra 3%?
I mean, I would justify the extra 3% because when I put on a distressed property, I get flooded with extra work and calls and unrepresented investors who want the deal and think it'll be advantageous to come in unrepresented, thinking they'll get a lower acquisition price. That's all I have for now. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, that's absolutely part of it. Let's see here.
I got a good answer for that one.
Okay, Vince, let's go.
Especially if you're looking at a short sale, it goes two ways too. You have to go for what the bank is approving as well too. But that extra 3% on there is for your time and effort with working with the bank to get the approval for them. And a short sale is going to take a lot longer. For the closing is typically 90 days.
Absolutely, the spot on answer. The very first thing, and we are going to be doing a training. I've got my guest speaker next Thursday is going to be the hard money lender that has a variety of ways to get a home financed for your investors and you. So Mona and I are going to be driving to Seattle, right? So don't miss next Thursday. It's going to be a blast because this guy's got more ways to maneuver money and manipulate money, yada, yada, yada. But so that's who next Thursday is. So spread the word with all of your friends and agents and get on that. Don't miss this one. So knowing that we've got a foreclosure coming up, we are going to teach you how to call the service department and get that date extended. Because that's the first thing that's probably going to happen. And if you have 30 days, you're fine. You just got to get to a right price. And hopefully you've got multiple offers. The service companies love seeing multiple offers on the transparent site. And when you call them, yeah, what I always do with mine, if I know it's going to get heavy hit, I'll call the servicer. Hey, look, I'm doing this. It's going to be public. Why don't you watch this? Because you're going to watch what the market can bear. So I'm saving you a lot of money and a lot of time instead of foreclosing it. But the reason why you can justify the 10% is exactly what Katie and Vincent said. There is going to be more work involved. And on that 10% breakdown, this is the cool part. We get 1, right? And you get 5.5, and the buyer's agent gets 2.5. How would that payday be for you?
Oh, real gravy.
And it's coming.
Robert, it would be 6.5 for us.
Oh, 6.5.
Yeah. Thank you. I was trying to figure out where do we get to 5?
That one is the floater in there that I guess
There you
if
go.
we only get 5.5.
All right. The 6.5, is that even better than 5.5?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it to make a phone call to a service company and help these folks out? Is it worth it telling why they should listen on the platform? Because of the transparency, because your relationship, because you know how to get things extended. You can call the service department. They can see what's happening live. and they will see what a buyer is willing to pay. And I'll tell you something. I got into real estate back in the 2006, 2008 crash, and it was gross. We had 1,200 listings that we were trying to negotiate, and that's how I ended up with this relationship at Deutsche Bank. So anyway, so stay tuned, stay diligent, and we're at 2:00. So we're going to go ahead and end the training. I hope this was fruitful for you. Again, but I think it's always nice to come back and keep talking about ways to build your business and make more. Right? All right. Anybody have any comments about the training today?
No, it's great. Great information. Thank you, Robert.
Beautiful.
Thank you, team. Thank you, team.
Good
Yeah.
stuff, Robert.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys, thanks for coming on. And don't forget next Thursday. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be fun. I'm going to try to do it from be like Joy, do it from my phone in the car, see if I can get it to work. So anyways, all right, you're all a blessing. Thank you for showing up, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for tuning into Easy Real Estate Platform's Topic Thursdays. We hope to see you again next week, and make sure you check out our Facebook groups. The links are in the description.